If you collect CPP, OAS, or GIS, this month's payment is not a normal one. 3 separate things are landing on the exact same date: a confirmed rate increase, an annual income reset, and a rollover of the clawback threshold. And depending on your situation, that combination could mean a noticeably bigger deposit or a noticeably smaller one. Let's break down exactly what's happening and what you need to check. Hey everyone, welcome back to Frank Canada Today. Most months, your OAS and GIS payments move by a tiny amount, a few dollars here or there, and you barely notice. This month is different because July is the one time a year when several mechanisms all reset at once. Today, I'll walk you through the confirmed increase, why your GIS could shift in either direction regardless of that increase, what's happening with the clawback thresholds, and what steps you should actually take this week to make sure your payment lands correctly. Let's get into it. Let's start with the headline number. The federal government confirmed a 1.2% increase in OAS benefits for the July to September quarter. And this is actually the largest quarterly bump seniors have seen all year, more than 10 times the size of the tiny 0.1% increase from the April to June quarter. That pushes the maximum monthly OAS pension to approximately $751.97 for seniors aged 65 to 74 and $827.17 for those 75 and older who continue receiving the extra 10% enhancement that became permanent back in 2022. This new rate applies starting July 1st, but the first payment reflecting it actually arrives on July 29th, since the June 26th deposit was still calculated at the old April to June rate. This quarterly bump is larger than usual because of elevated gasoline prices and persistent food inflation through the spring, both of which fed directly into the Consumer Price Index calculation that determines this adjustment. GIS is indexed by that same quarterly mechanism, so this 1 point
applies to GIS payments too, along with the allowance and the allowance for the survivor. But here's the part that catches people off guard every single year. GIS isn't just getting the quarterly bump, it's also being individually recalculated based on your income. Every July, Service Canada resets your guaranteed income supplement using your most recently completed tax return, which for this cycle means your 2025 income. So 2 completely different things are happening to your GIS on the same date. Everyone gets the guaranteed 1.2% increase, but on top of that, your specific GIS amount also gets recalculated based on how your 2025 income compares to your 2024 income. If your income dropped last year, you could see a bigger increase than the quarterly bump alone would suggest. If your income went up, even from something like a one-time RRSP withdrawal or investment gain, your GIS could actually shrink, sometimes enough to offset the quarterly increase entirely. For a single senior with no other income, the combined OAS and GIS deposit could reach somewhere in the range of $1,875 a month, but that figure varies significantly based on marital status and income level, so don't assume that number applies to your specific situation without checking your own numbers. Now, the third piece of this puzzle, the OAS recovery tax, or the clawback. For the recovery tax period running from July 2026 through June 2027, which is based on your 2025 income, the minimum threshold sits at roughly $93,454. For the separate calculation tied specifically to 2026 income, which determines your clawback for the following cycle, the published repayment range runs from about $95,323 up to roughly $154,753 for seniors aged 65 to 74. For those 75 and older, thanks to the enhanced OAS amount, the upper threshold sits higher at approximately $160,696. Once your net world income crosses the lower number, you lose 15 cents of OAS for every additional dollar earned, and once you reach the
top of the range, your OAS is reduced all the way to zero. This recovery tax gets calculated by the CRA based on your annual return and then spread evenly across your next 12 monthly OAS payments. So if you're anywhere near these thresholds, a large one-time withdrawal or capital gain this year could have ripple effects on your OAS income well into next year. So with 3 mechanisms hitting on the same date, what should you actually do right now? First, check your July 29th deposit against your June 26th deposit as soon as it lands. And if the maximum OAS portion doesn't match roughly $751.97 or $827.17, depending on your age bracket, before any GIS or supplement is added, contact Service Canada directly to confirm. Second, log into My Service Canada account and look specifically at the breakdown between your OAS and your GIS amounts, since that's the only way to actually see whether your GIS moved up or down independently of the quarterly increase. Third, if you haven't filed your 2025 tax return yet, do it now, because a missing or late tax filing is one of the most common reasons GIS and allowance payments get delayed or paused altogether, even for seniors who had no income at all last year. Fourth, If your marital status changed recently, whether that's a marriage, separation, or the loss of a spouse, update that information with Service Canada immediately, since GIS calculations are highly sensitive to household composition, and an outdated record can throw off your entire payment. And finally, if your banking details changed recently, confirm your direct deposit information is current, since banking updates typically take 3 to 5 business days to process, and you don't want a correct payment amount sent to an old account. Looking ahead, the next quarterly OAS review comes in October, based on May through July inflation data, and early indications suggest another increase is likely, though nothing is confirmed yet. Service Canada also hasn't released the
official 2027 payment calendar as of this point in the year, so keep an eye out for that once it drops, since planning your budget around confirmed payment dates makes a real difference, especially around the December payment, which typically lands earlier than usual to accommodate year-end banking schedules. So to bring this together, July genuinely is the biggest single adjustment month of the year for Canadian seniors. You've got a confirmed 1.2% quarterly increase, an individual GIS recalculation based on your 2025 income that could push payment up or down independently of that increase, and a clawback threshold rollover that higher income retirees need to watch closely. Check your deposit, check your My Service Canada account, and make sure your tax filing and personal information are current, because those 3 things determine whether this update works in your favor or catches you off guard. If this helped clear things up, hit subscribe so you catch every update the moment it's confirmed, and drop a comment letting me know if your July payment matched what you expected, or if it surprised you. I read every single one. This has been Frank Canada Today. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.